Hello everybody, today we are on part 3 of our minerals videos. Today we're talking about the third type of mineral, the trace minerals. The trace minerals are needed in very small amounts, but they still have very, very important jobs in the body, even though you only need tiny amounts of them for them to do their jobs. The trace minerals are iron, iodine, copper, zinc, selenium, and fluoride. So let's first talk about iron. The benefits of iron is it helps make hemoglobin. Over half of the iron in your body is in the blood, and it combines in the blood with protein to form hemoglobin, which is the protein pigment in red blood cells. Other benefits of iron is it helps your body use oxygen. It actually takes the oxygen through your bloodstream to the cells so that it can be used. It helps with growth and development, it helps form the red blood cells, and it helps with healing of different wounds that you may have. If you get too little, it can cause anemia. Anemia literally means too little blood, and so it's when you have too few red blood cells that are present in the body, and so it cannot carry the oxygen to the cells to be used. The result of this is fatigue. It can cause weakness, headaches, poor resistance to the cold. You get cold a lot easier, pale skin. Typically, the people who are most at risk for anemia would be women and infants. Women, especially when you're looking at the menstrual cycle, would be losing iron then, and then a lot of times after the delivery of a baby, they would test to make sure that you're not anemic, that you've lost too much iron then. For infants, they are also at risk for anemia. They grow very quickly, and they need to make sure that they keep up with their iron stores. If you get too much iron, it can damage the liver and other body tissues. Your body doesn't really get rid of iron. You might lose blood, and that would cause you to be lower in iron, but it's not going to really filter out and eliminate excess iron. Iron supplements are the leading cause of poisoning in small children. So if the mother is taking iron supplements, she really needs to make sure that she's careful that children cannot get to those, that keeps them out of their reach, because they can become very, very, very sick from that. Symptoms of the toxicity of iron for children could be nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. It can speed up the heart rate and have a very rapid heart rate. It could cause a weak pulse, dizziness, shock, confusion. And it doesn't take a lot of iron supplements for someone to be very sick. As little as 5 tablets containing 200 milligrams or less can cause death in kids. The body absorbs calcium, iron from animal sources more easily than plant sources. So when you're looking at sources, liver is a good source, meat, egg yolks, dried beans, spinach, nuts are good sources as well. However, your body's not going to absorb that as easily from those plant sources. There are some studies that say if you eat foods rich in vitamin C, along with those plant sources of iron, it will help enhance your iron absorption. The second trace mineral is zinc. And the benefits of zinc is it helps your body use carbohydrates, fat, and protein. So it helps break down the food you're eating to be able to be used. It's important for growth. It's important for the reproductive process, and also it helps with healing wounds. It helps your taste and your smell, those senses. There is some research that was done that connected zinc to the smell. There's a study that there's a 40-year-old person who lacked the sense of smell since they were 4, and they were given 500 milligrams of zinc every day for a month, and then all of a sudden they could smell a banana from 12 feet away. So making sure that you're getting enough of the nutrients can be very important. If you get too little, it can cause your wounds to heal more slowly. So you get a cut or an injury and it sticks around for a lot longer. And you could lose your sense of taste. So imagine trying to eat your favorite food and not being able to taste it. Now with kids, it could also cause stunted growth if they don't get enough zinc. Too much zinc can cause fever and nausea. Over time, if you're continually getting too much zinc, it can result in heart disease and kidney failure, but that would have to be a very prolonged amount of time. Sources are meat, seafood, eggs, and milk are all good sources of zinc. And the third trace mineral is iodine. Iodine, the benefits, it helps your thyroid gland work properly. It's an essential part of thyroxine, which is the hormone produced by the thyroid gland. It also helps with growth and development, which it goes hand in hand with the work of the thyroid gland, and it helps with metabolism. Metabolism is basically how much energy your body needs to function. If you get too little, it can cause what's called a goiter, which is just an enlarged thyroid gland, and I have a picture that I'll show you here in a minute for that. Too much, symptoms are unknown, so it's probably something you really don't have to worry about too much because it's not something that has been documented enough to know what the symptoms are. Sources of iodine, it's in table salt. It's actually added to table salt because we, especially in the United States, we get plenty of salt, and so they've added it to make sure that people are getting enough of the iodine. If you look at the salt packages, a lot of times you'll see it'll say on there iodized salt, and that's because they've added the iodine to make sure people are getting enough. It's also in saltwater fish and almost all animal foods. This is a couple pictures of goiters, and there's different progressions of levels of severity, and there are other reasons that somebody may get a goiter, but one of them is that iodine, not having enough of it, can cause that enlargement. And that's not usually something we see in the United States. Sometimes less developed countries, they see more of that. The next trace mineral is copper. And the benefits of copper, it helps with collagen and connective tissue formation. It helps keep all of the connective tissue healthy. It helps produce energy in the body and helps with that production of energy, that process. It helps the nervous system function properly, and it's also important for brain development. If you get too little copper, it can cause you to become extremely tired, a lack of energy because of that. It can cause high cholesterol levels in the blood, and so that cholesterol can start to build up and cause blockages of your arteries. It can cause brittle bones that could break more easily, and it could cause a loss of coordination as well. But good news, it is rare in humans. We tend to get plenty of copper. If you get too much, it can cause liver damage. It can also cause cramping or vomiting or diarrhea because of getting too much in the diet. For sources of copper, it is in chocolate, so a health benefit of chocolate. It's in shellfish, it's in liver. Another one of those nutrients that is found in liver that is popping up. It's in whole grains, so if you're looking more for whole grain breads, cereals, pastas, those would be good sources of copper, and then nuts and seeds as well. The next trace mineral is selenium. Selenium, it benefits by thyroid function. It helps your thyroid function properly. It helps with your immune system, and it's also important for the reproductive process. If you get too little, it can cause a type of heart disease or a type of arthritis, but again, good news is it is rare in humans. If you get too much selenium, it can cause brittle hair or nails. Your hair would break more easily. Fingernails would break more easily. It can also cause discoloration of your teeth. For your skin, it can cause rashes, and then it can actually cause more of a metallic taste in your mouth because of that excess of selenium. Sources, it's in Brazil nuts. Brazil nuts Seafood and organ meats are actually the richest sources of selenium. And so you do have to watch that you're not taking in too much of your Brazil nuts. If you're eating them quite regularly, you could actually get an overdose of selenium. It's also in poultry, eggs, and whole grains. And fluoride. You've probably heard of fluoride at the dentist because fluoride helps prevent tooth decay. And so if you're not getting enough, it can cause more cavities, which means more trips to the dentist for more dental work. And nobody really likes having to go to the dentist because of cavities. If you get too much, it can cause what's called fluorosis in kids, which is like a pitting or spotting or streaks on the teeth. And so you can look at some of those pictures to see those areas on the teeth that are showing that fluorosis. Sources, it's in eggs and fish and soybeans. It's actually added to drinking water in a lot of areas so that you can avoid the possibility of, or reduce the possibility of tooth decay. And so that's why it's added in a lot of areas to the drinking water. It also occurs naturally in water. So if you're drinking water, you should be able to get plenty of fluoride. And of course, you find that in like toothpaste and things to help keep your teeth healthy. So that concludes the last of the trace minerals and the last of the minerals videos. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me or let me know, and have a wonderful day.